In this video, I'm going to be showing you what I've been doing with my level, give you a full rundown of that, talking about some tips and tricks, some things I've learned, and introducing you to the concept of commenting inside your level. As you can see, I've put in a bunch of work in my level. Just to give you context, probably in about 2 or 3 hours of me playing around with the terrain, placing things, moving things. I want to show you what I've done and bring you up to speed. Looking at my level, you can see I've placed in some more placeholder buildings. I've put in a waterfall. I've got a windmill that Mikey's provided for us. Excellent. I've written a whole bunch of stuff on the ground. That's probably the first thing you saw, my bright yellow, which I'll explain to you guys in a moment. And I've got the castle in a place where I'm pretty happy with it. The first thing I want to really share with you guys is the way that I've been creating my level has been viewing it as a sequence of moments. I think this is a great way to design any game and create any level. And for me, each moment in your game needs to be interesting, compelling, and support the overall experience. So right at the very start, we've talked about this a few times. I'll hit play and show you what the player will see at the start of my level. As you run down, you see a moment where I'll have a little bit of combat here. And when you see a red splodge on the ground, that means this is where I'll place some enemies and we'll have some combat. And I'll show you how to do that in a moment. As I run through, I've got this first moment. There's a combat moment here. Not sure what it is yet. We don't need to get into that detail. I just know I want some sort of fight. While you're fighting, pew pew, stuff going on there. You're seeing this cool town in the background. You're wondering what's going on. I wanted to stop the play here so they could have plenty of time to see the bridge. This is a bridge down below. So this is my very first moment in the game. As I'm running along, this is sort of a moment, looking at the town below, giving the player plenty of time to check that out. Then we come in here, more combat, and while you're fighting, you can see a house down here. This is another moment after you fight where there'll be a quest giver. This is where I'll have someone standing in front of the house and they'll explain what's going on and give you some sort of quest. Haven't figured out exactly what that is. It might just be a story flavor type thing, might not be a quest per se. Now, I want to stop there and just show you a few things about what I've got there. You're probably wondering about the red marks on the ground. So if you click on your terrain, go into the terrain paint texture. I've created and imported a red and a yellow. I'm going to show you how I did that, and I've created for you guys, for your viewing pleasure, I've created 3 just pretty basic textures, a red, a yellow, and a grey. I'm going to bring in the grey. You don't need to import this. I haven't set this up as a Unity package. I've just got them sitting there inside of a zip, inside of a folder. I'm going to go to, first of all, into Rick's Village. So wherever it is that you're saving your scene aspects, your scene assets and resources, I'm just going to drag that into there. And then when we go and click on the terrain, click anywhere on the terrain, we edit textures, add texture, and just drag the grey over to there. We don't really need to play around with the scaling because it's just one big flat color. We'll click add. So now I've got grey in there as well. And as I've been going around my level, I put the brush size down to 1. I'll click on red for now. That's what I've been using. If I think this is a spot where I'd like to have some enemies placed and have some combat, I'm just going splodge on the ground like that. This for me speeds things up considerably. I don't go and create an enemy prefab, drop it in, and play around with the, with the positioning of it to get it in the right spot. I find it very fast just to go bloop and paint where I want to go. And then if you change your mind, then what do? You just go and get the green and just paint back over it. And with the yellow, I've basically just, this is to give some conversation, communication with our artist, with Mikey, or if we have anyone else, saying, I'd like this to be farm. So where I've got the yellow, that's where I want to have farmland. I want to have a real farmy kind of theme to this level. What's next on my list to explain to you guys? Let's talk about the ramps. As I was running through, run. Originally, I had this pretty straight, and then down the end, I'm just going to sneak through here. I'll explain those things in a moment. You're not supposed to go that way, but I'm just going quick. I had it down here as a moment, which was okay, but that meant a whole bunch of just straight lines. And straight lines was starting to feel a bit repetitive and a bit boring. I wanted to push the player to the side so then they could focus very intently on, what is this? Why has the game shown me this? But you're not distracted by the ramp. The ramp's far enough away that you're not saying, just let me get past. You're actually paying attention to that. what I've done, instead of dropping in assets for now, and that's a nicer way to do it, to drop in boulders or blocks or to get our artists, or if it's you to make something nice and neat and pretty there, all I've said for now is I shouldn't be going through there. So I'm just going on the terrain tool, going for 1 on the brush size, and then just giving it a quick, whoop, that's a little bit too big. If the opacity is too high, it's going to shoot up too fast, around 20. So I'm going to quick click or 2, just to say this is somewhere where I want the player not to go through, but I don't want to build it up so much that it blocks the view. I still want to be able to see through. And so that might end up being a rail we put there. It might be a hedge. It might be some debris. It could be anything. But for now, I don't want to decide what it is. I just want to say something should go here. At the end of the ramp, I came down the end of the ramp here. I needed to very quickly say you can't go forward and have something interesting for the player. And have a fight here. It makes sense. I've done a lot of running. So in terms of my next moment, and I'm looking at the gameplay, I'm looking at the aesthetic, i.e. how good does it look and how good does it feel, and I'm looking at the overall experience. I like to have a little bit of flavor. That's why I've gone and painted some blue on the waterfall, and then lead the player over this way. There'll be some more enemies, and I think what I've got here at the moment is there's a building in the middle. I've got a note that's P for pub, should probably be T for tavern, to be ye oldie, where the player could go either way around here. If your game is an open world game, then you're giving them tons of freedom. If it's more of a Skyrim type thing, they're going everywhere. But because we're doing a fixed camera, more of a linear flow, it's good to give a bit of illusion of choice from time to time. So as we're running through here, this will be the big town, village green. I'm thinking of putting a fountain in the middle there. Lots of fighting, lots of combat. I want this to be a funny moment, so I'm thinking this is where our pigs will go. Maybe they're sipping champagne or something weird. And then I've put in a couple of blocked out with some buildings here. I've sunk them into the ground because I didn't like how high they were. This is a conversation that Mikey and I are having about creating some lower assets that you guys will get your hands on soon. I haven't put in any water yet. We'll do that in the next video too. We'll put in some water. Pretty straightforward process. I've just painted it blue. Get down here to the bridge, and then I made the bridge elevate a little bit, because if the player's up high and the elements are down lower, it's easier for you to see more of it with our camera. And a big B there, which means a boss battle. This would be the end of it. Not sure yet about whether we'd have a door that goes down to a dungeon, but because this is our prototype level, I want it to be a 5-minute experience, maybe a 7-minute experience. I don't want to worry too much about that, too much about exactly where does the player start, exactly where do they come from. You can see I've done a little bit of there could be more stuff happen down here if we need it. We could be around the corner. We could come from down below. It could be one of those things where you need to get from there to there, but this is blocked, so you have to go the whole way around. That would be kind of fun, wouldn't it? But I haven't gone and built this too far out, and I haven't built too far out that way, but I've left them as hooks for it could go that way. And you can see I've gone and just scrunched the castle a little bit down into the ground to make it a little bit more indicative of what we're looking for there. And I've squashed it, which is completely going to break this asset. Completely nonsense to do. You shouldn't do it once you get proper assets in there. But for me now, I'm just going a little bit fast and loose with that and how I do it. So I'm going to do a video down the road where we do set dressing to make it all nice and pretty and to give it that good flavor and good feeling. For now, don't do too much set dressing. If I say, okay, you know what, this is too small, we need to go and move all these back. So we need to move our river, we need to change everything up. At the moment, I could just go, cool, click, raise that up, lower that down, boom, we're done. But if you've gone and hand-placed all these trees with loving accuracy, then you'll be very hesitant to do those kind of quick changes. For now, you have to be fast and loose. If we get in there, if this is in the wrong spot, we just have to move it. You know, that's a better spot, let's try that. That's a better spot, let's try that. So it's all about fast and loose at the moment. Super, super important. And if there's any part of this level creation process that I've done with my level here that you guys have any questions about, if there's something that I've done that I haven't explained properly to you, you're looking at it and saying, dang, how did he do that? That doesn't make sense. Then just leave a comment and leave a question for us. Jump on our discussion boards, jump in the forum, just ask questions in there. You know, how did you do that? How did you make those houses go underground? That's amazing. And the last thing I want to show you in this video is about commenting your level. You can see I've got a couple of comments in there, the P on the ground, which is me just in a very fast and loose saying, I want to put the pub there, this is going to be farm, this is where the enemies go. So that's a form of commenting. Another form of commenting which I really, really like is, as you can see, is my billboards up here. So I'm going to create another couple of billboards. I've already brought in the textures. I think you guys probably already brought these in as well in the past. But if not, go grab some images from the internet and stamp your own flavor on it. Don't just do what I've got here. I'm going to duplicate my big billboard up here. And I'm also, you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to tidy up a little bit. Make sure you're constantly tidying up here. It's important to have things grouped nicely. Here's my environment. I need to grab that billboard and place it outside of terrain, sorry, outside of environment, so that I can put it into a new form of the hierarchy. So creating an empty, and in the empty, we're going to rename that to comments. Always remember, I can hear Ben's voice saying to reset position of any empties that you create, so we know exactly where they are and what's going on. Under comments, I'm going to put inspiration screen. I'm then going to duplicate my inspiration screen. Probably make it a little bit smaller. Definitely make it a little bit smaller, actually. Rotate it around a little bit. And I'm going to just put over here the fast flowing reference image of fast flowing river that I've got, just to say this is what's going on over here. It's a river and we want it fast flowing so it looks really cool and interesting, and I'll plop that over there. So that's what I like to do. This is a conversation between, if it's just me working on this, it's a reminder, hey, put rocks and fast flowing, and I want this to look like it's rapids and very interesting. If it's an artist working on it that's not me, then it's really great for them to see, oh, that's what he wants, and this is where he wants it. That's a lot. I find putting things within your level, within your scene, within your game is a lot easier for people, a lot faster for the flow than writing it all in a document and saying, go check the document. Documents are important, but there's some things that we can just speed up by doing it this way. The other form of comments that I really like as well is putting in some text. So I'm going to go down here and create a 3D object, 3D text. Now we can see new text. I'm just going to call it comment. In here, I'm going to write under text mesh. I've got a text box in here. I'm going to write tavern. Oops, tavern, there we go. Let me see if I can find where he's gone. He's all the way over there. Okay, bring it over here. Interesting thing about text is you can read it no matter whether it's under things or above things or over things, so it often becomes a little bit tricky to find where the heck it's gone. But it looks like it's right there. Let me have a look from above, right next to the thingy from the side. Okay, I need to rotate it 270. And of course it's white, so I can't see. There it is. Changing the color. I like to have something that really stands out and said, hey, I am here and I am pink. There we go. The font size, I'm going to make that bit bigger, up to about 35. I've got the font size. Also going to make it bold, so it's a little bit thicker. Bold by clicking on font style there. Move it back over here above the building. So now we can see, for all to see, nice and obvious, is this is a tavern. If I need to move everything, I can click on both and then just move the tavern and it's signed together. But I don't need to group them or parent them at the moment, I don't think. I can just select them if need be. Fast and loose. Which brings me to my challenge for you guys, which is to comment your moments. To put comments throughout your level, through the ways that I've showed you, the screens, the billboards, or to put in the text, or to write on the ground. And in preparation for that, I want you to view your level as a stage for presenting moments to the player. So here's a moment, here's a moment, here's a moment. Really get into that frame of mind. What's happening in this point? What's cool about it? What do I need to show? What do I need to do with the art? Indicate where the moments take place within the level, and then write any art, tuning, placement notes in your level as we've talked about. So that's your challenge. I'm expecting that there's probably going to be about, at least 4 to 10 of these. And well done for all of your work so far. You're doing fantastic. You've made it to a great part of the course, great part of your project, and I'll be seeing you in the next video.